Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Not Just Ghost Stories. I'm your host, Josh, along with Jackie and Laura. We are a group of experienced paranormal investigators, and on this podcast, we discuss different locations that we've investigated, along with a little history and evidence that we have found. Today, we will continue our discussion on Whispers Estates and portals. Last episode, we had started talking about portals and how the energy can feel, and how they can affect us by that energy. Also, as to many different types of portals that there are throughout everything, and we're going to elaborate more on that. Jackie, can you tell us a little bit more about how portals can affect us or even how they can develop?
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to point out is you hear us say that we felt the energy shift. There is a portal there, but the portal is like a door. And sometimes when the door is closed, the energy can be felt, but not as strongly as when a person opens that portal, opens that door. Then you get this huge rush of energy and things. Whispers, we also said Whispers portal was more of a floor to ceiling type. It was more of an upward or downward movement. We've had other portals that were more of a, we call them east-west movement, more of a horizontal movement as opposed to a vertical movement. We've had portals that may not suck you in, but may spit you out, as opposed to, say, like they're the upstairs. There's a stairs you go up, and there's a stairs when you want to go down, you go down. There are portals that are one way. They open in many different places, so a lot of it is going to be where the portal opens. We've had portals that open that you don't feel threatened by them. But we've also had portals that have opened that you back out and you close those pretty quick. And yes, you can open and close a portal. It's not something the layman can do, but a lot of the pagans, the Wiccans, and people like that, they do have rituals that can open or close a portal. We're talking about energy here, and basically you have people that can manipulate this energy, and you're going to have different energy. And since the energy is different, you're going to be affected a little bit differently depending upon the portal, where it goes, which way it goes, and what's coming at you or what's going to be on the other end. So, Laura, can you go into more of what, just reiterate what you felt at Whispers and kind of point out how that was different from other portals that we've been around?
Sure. For Whispers Estate, I believe the portal experience for me began during what you described as the rush when the door opens. It felt like the bottom fell out, I guess is a way to describe it, almost like a black hole, just this immense pressure, and it's pulling you straight down, and it feels very like choppy, like the wind is not blowing, your hair is not blowing around, but it just has that turbulence feel to it. And then once I guess a little bit of reality kicks in, and I could hear you, then it was like it became quicksand. It wasn't as if my body wasn't responding when I was telling it to get up. It was just more, it just didn't happen. Not like a paralyzed thing though, but just like the bottom is pulling you down to the point that nothing is going to go up. And then once I did get off the bed, panic. I remember extreme panic, mostly from the fear of what if I had not gotten off of the bed, well, where would I have went? Would I have went anywhere? And if I did, how would I have got back?
Yeah, I can remember after we got you out of the house, you specifically looked at me and said, "What just happened?" you know, what? How long were we in there? What happened? It was almost like you forgot what we were doing, or even why we were there. Is the way I kind of got out of it. Would you say that would be true?
Yeah. And it was like my whole body was tingling. I don't know if that was from the panic that I had experienced, or if there was some sort of energy transfer. I'm not, honestly, I just don't know. I don't think I would ever want to necessarily experience it again. It might not go as well the second time.
Well, I can also say, with portals, whispers for me was one of the very first ones that I really kind of encountered, and how that energy just felt, just down in your gut, really, not even in your head, but how you can feel it really amping up. Whispers is kind of known for that portal to kind of come and go whenever it really feels like it, right, Jackie? I mean,
It's not that the portal comes and goes. We don't want you to think that this portal disappears. That portal is there. Every time I've been there, that portal is there. But is it opened or is it closed? And that's when it opens, that's when people really get affected by it.
yeah, and in future discussions, we're going to discuss more in different portals and different places that we found them. But this particular one, like I said, was my very first one. I didn't really know how it affected me. It was really, really hard to kind of decipher exactly what I was feeling in that moment. Of course, I had to panic, when that was really starting to amp up and that portal was starting to open. Uh, all of a sudden, I'm, kind of stuck on the floor by something stepping on it, and kind of, so was that part of that energy too? Was a big question for me. And do you think it could have been something from that portal that made that energy just kind of decide to step on my hand, I guess you would say?
It could have been, or it could have been the other way around. It could have been a spirit from Whispers that was holding you to this plane.
Yeah. Making sure that I didn't get stuck
Yeah.
in it or something.
Either way, the way he chose to do that was not nice because we had no idea what was going on, and just stepping on somebody's hand without explaining is kind of confusing in itself.
Oh yeah. I mean, just the amp up though. I just sitting in that room was kind of crazy to all of us that were there. Laura again doesn't remember too much of the amp up. It's just all of a sudden there it was for her, and she doesn't remember anything. But the energy just moving, you could actually feel it coming through the room. Would I guess you would say it was almost like a whirlwind inside that room.
Or like a storm, when a bad thunderstorm is coming, the animals and a lot of people feel it. There's that tenseness. There's that expectation that something is coming, and good or bad, it is very strong. So
Unless
you,
you're sitting in it and you just don't have any idea that any of that is going on,
Yeah.
or not at this particular type.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was for, I know for me, I definitely know for Laura, I don't want to talk on her behalf, but it's kind of a scary situation when you really don't know what you're getting into right away, right?
right.
Completely opened my mind to a lot of possibilities I had never allowed to be on the table. And there's just was no denying that things that most people find unbelievably odd do exist, at least some of them.
Well, yeah, and then let's go on to the next part of this. So, Jackie, you were just telling us, there can be tubular, I guess you would call, designs of portals, along with in and out style portals. You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, we were at a doing kind of a private hunt at a business, and again, that's the nice thing about having Josh is when he starts losing time and getting headaches, we start looking for the portal. And there was a room with glass shelves, and I believe there were windows or mirrors on 3 sides of the room, and then the 4th side was open. One of those mirrors, you could feel, if you stood in front of it, it was like there was a wind blowing you into the mirror. If you went to the other side, two steps to your right, and you could feel something blowing out of the mirror. So we had 2 portals right there. One was an indoor, and the other one was the outdoor.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, Laura, because I remember this wasn't too far after we had done Whispers. Um, and the effect that it had on me, because I walked right into the middle of it, was crazy. And it had quite an effect on Laura. We both had to be removed from the situation, taken into a different area and grounded again. Um, so those effects were crazy. You remember that, Laura?
Yeah. Um, but it just goes to show that they must all be different, because this one there wasn't necessarily that kind of panic. There wasn't like a rush. It was just more of a, huh, I don't really know a word.
And for me, it was what happened type of situation. Like I said, we had to be removed. I don't remember anything during that situation. Once we kind of got into there, I was like, something's not right. I remember that. I remember feeling a huge pressure and not on my head, but in my brain, where it just felt like it was pushing on something. I'm like, something's not right here. And then I don't remember anything afterwards.
Also, I don't think we ever talked about this. It just occurred to me. But what do you see on the other side of the portal? Looking into the portal, I'm not seeing just darkness. I'm not seeing the energy, except in whispers. All I see is the energy. But like the one with the two mirrors, what I was seeing was like a stone hallway in maybe a castle or something like that. We saw a portal there that, to me, what I saw when I looked through it, it opened into a field, and there was a whole bunch of goats and goat herders coming at us and stuff. And I don't believe I've ever asked you guys, what do you see? Do you see anything when you look through the portal?
Laura, you want to go first, or you want me to talk
Sure.
first?
Sure.
Go for it.
For me, it is almost like being in the galaxy, I guess. Mostly it's black, and there's a lot of just strange lights. I do see like sporadic images, but I mean they're like super quick. They're there, they're gone. So, and that's been, the same ones that you have seen things in. It's just that I see things, it's just they're completely different. So I don't know if it would be similar to gazing into a crystal ball. I
Um,
really don't know. You, Josh?
for me, thinking back, through the times that we have ran into different portals, every single one seemed different. Like I said, Whispers for me was my very first time actually dealing with a portal. Not really seeing much, just kind of taking in what I had felt and trying to understand was that part. The private one that you were talking about, I saw light on one side. I saw darkness on the other. Um, I couldn't tell you right now off the top of my head which one was which, but when I looked down into one and as I walked through it, all I saw was almost a blinding light. It was very bright, sun-like, you know. The other one just seemed dark, like there was, but the energy rushing through it was different than the energy. I don't know if it was because it was going an opposite way than the other one, but to me, it just seemed very dark, like I was in just pitch black and darker than dark, darker than midnight, darker than anything that you can think of. That's all I saw. I almost couldn't see, well, actually, I couldn't see anything in front of me. Other portals that we've ran into, it's been something completely different. For me, it's more the effect that it has, again, on my head, and even in my stomach, on what happens as far as what I see. And that's where I think things can always, be different. Another one that I can remember, it was a different planet, but similar. I felt like I was on. I'm trying to figure out a good way to explain it where I can kind of paint a picture in people's heads here. Think of the planet Earth. Think of just being in a landscape, really, beautiful mountain landscape area. but everything was blurred. Like I felt like I was in a different world. I didn't feel like I was on Earth on another one that I saw. It just felt like a completely different world. So just every single one seems different to me, depending, I think, really on the type of energy that comes through it, and even to the type of energy, that is around it.
And with that, also, not all portals, we're not going to sit here and we're not going to tell you that portals are evil, because the energy that comes through them is different. There are some portals, the portal on the private, the in and out portal, it was rushing, it was quick, it was overwhelming, but I didn't feel threatened by it.
No, and that one I didn't feel threatened by. Not even the dark side of it. I think it was almost meant to represent that this one is going out and this one's coming in. To me, if you really kind of think back on it.
And the one where I saw the goats, all I could think is that I don't want the goats here, but I wasn't threatened by it. It was a totally different world and totally different things, and it was rushing at me. But again, I wanted to make sure we didn't let the goats in. We were in an opera house. Goats don't belong there. But I didn't feel threatened by it. But also on the other side, our portals aren't something to play with. We don't know a lot about them. We don't know what happens. Can you go through a portal? Can you get back through a portal? What happens? Can you mentally, take what was on the other side and come back the same? So we're not saying that portals are something that you should play with or jump into or anything, but we're also saying that don't inherently think that they are evil. Just be cautious around them.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, any type of ghost hunt or anything that you do, you always kind of want to go in with some caution at some point. Whether you think it's safe or people have told you it's safe, or whether it can be a crazy ghost hunt. But the thing about portals is you never know what you're going to get, is the way I feel about it.
Yeah. So, and also, we talk about protection, that we all have our protection before we even enter the ghost hunt. But the only protection against portals is be aware of them, be cautious around them, and don't put yourself into a situation by laying in the middle of them where you might get sucked into them. And if you do get sucked into them, could you try to get a hold of me somehow and let me know what it's like?
Laura was almost there, right?
Unfortunately.
Well, next time she sits in the portal, I'm going to put my crystal ball in her hand so we can communicate when she's in the other world.
Hopefully find a teacher to get me back.
We'll have to find somebody. We'll have to figure that one out as we go along.
Eventually. We'll miss her.
Yeah. I'll definitely miss her. But again, when you go into portals, you can find all this information about different portals and different people online. I know we've done a lot of research online as far as portals. Now, as we get into that, how about portals versus vortexes?
Yeah, those still kind of confuse me. To me, a vortex is just more of a swirling energy. I assume it's like a doorway. I'm not real, I can never, I can't get a grasp on them. And again, I'm not going to jump into a vortex so I can answer all your questions and stuff. So we're going to have to take this a little at a time.
Come on, Jackie. Be a team player. All right. Well, anything else that anybody wants to add about portals?
I'm sorry. Just one more thing. There's the legend or whatever you want. If you have two mirrors facing, you've opened a portal. And a lot of people say, well, I've had mirrors in my house and I haven't opened a portal. I've opened portals by facing two mirrors together, so it can be done. But also, it was my intent to open that portal with mirrors. The thing you have to realize is that there are some things that open portals, and make sure that you close them.
Yeah. Now, wouldn't scrying, now I know that some people probably haven't heard of that, and we're going to get in that, later on, of scrying through a mirror. Wouldn't that be kind of like opening up a portal just one side?
Actually, I believe anytime your Ouija board opens a portal, because you're reaching out to, let's call it the other side. You're reaching out to the spiritual side. I believe that when you are in a meeting with a lot of people praying, what you're doing is you're sending energy skyward. You're opening up a portal. It's maybe a good portal, maybe a bad portal, I don't know, but you have opened up a portal. When you're scrying in your mirror, yes, you open up a portal. When you are, people say when you're dowsing, you have opened up a portal because you are reaching out to the other side. They cannot respond unless that door opens.
True. All right. Well, we're getting close to the end of this episode. So let's focus a little bit on just Whispers Estates at this point. How did you all feel about that ghost hunt overall?
Whispers is a definitely go there. It is not for the faint of heart, but it's not. We've done worse. Let me just say we have run into worse things. Whispers is if you have protection and you go there knowing there's a portal there and how to handle it, I think you're gonna enjoy the fact that you're gonna get some responses.
Scientifically, I think Whispers Estate is very interesting. Just with all the energy changes. So I definitely want to do it again, but just not lay in the portal.
Well, you don't want to do more research into the portal side of it?
I do from next to it.
Just ignore me and my duct tape then.
Me, I feel Whispers was just an awesome ghost hunt all the way around. There was just from moment one that we walked inside that door all the way to the time that we left, there was something happening. Whether in almost every single part of that house, I would say is there. I can't think of one part that didn't have something happening inside that house.
The basement, but we did not make it to the basement. We had so much upstairs that
Yeah,
by the time we could get to the basement, I think we were all pretty much drained.
yeah. It was a very fun night, but a very long night from what I can remember on everything.
I believe even if we'd had more time available, it was just an exhausting ghost hunt. I mean, it just drains too much out of you to keep going.
But I think we had fun. It was a good time overall.
We did. It's real nice. It's small enough for the three of us, had no problem covering it all, and yet large enough if you wanted to take a few more people, you could still do a good ghost hunt without tripping over each other.
Yep. All right. With that, this has been Not Just Ghost Stories, and we have been your hosts, Josh,
Laura,
and Jackie.
And until next time, you can find pictures and findings and contact us about today's episode on all social media platforms at Not Just Ghost Stories.